Welcome to the Voice of Retail podcast. My name is Michael LeBlanc, and I am your host. This podcast is produced in conjunction with Retail Council of Canada. Eric Morris, Managing Director of Google Retail in Canada, is back on the podcast, sharing holiday season insights for retailers. Leveraging over 2 decades of experience at Google, Eric discusses the critical role of personalization, AI, and content-driven strategies in meeting the evolving demands of Canadian consumers. Noting that holiday shopping habits are shaped by weather, calendar shifts, and economic indicators, he emphasizes the need for real-time adaptation. Let's listen in now. Eric, welcome to the Voice Retail podcast, my friend. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Nice to hear your voice.
It is not the holiday season without talking to you, my friend. This is the 3rd or 4th time you've been on the pod, and I learned something every single time you join me. So where am I finding you today? Are you in the home? You travel a lot, but where are you today?
I am in Toronto. I am at the Google office. We opened a new office maybe 6 months ago or so.
Oh, yeah.
We're on King East downtown. It's great. You'll have to come by.
Fantastic. Yeah, I haven't been to that building, so thanks for the invite. I'll definitely do so. And you and I, let's get to some fun stuff in addition to the other fun stuff and research, but you and I will be together in proximity on the stage in Vancouver at RCC's Retail West coming up November 6th. So I look forward to seeing you in person. What are you going to be talking about at Retail West, by the way? What's on your mind that what kind of knowledge are you dropping on the stage?
I'll be talking about the U.S. election results from the night before.
Fantastic. Won't we all? Yeah. One way or the other, won't we all, right?
Yeah.
No kidding. No kidding.
Well, I mean, look, it's the most important time of the year for retailers. And at that point, we'll be roughly 3.5 weeks away from Black Friday. And, I think one of the things I try and do during those moments is anchor retailers around, what are insights and tactics that are like actionable today to help them drive their business. And hopefully they walk away from those RCC sessions with a few ideas to help them drive more sales online, more sales in store, and win their holiday season.
Well, one of the things we learned, this is the second episode of the pod focused on insights around the holiday. We just had last week the Leger-Moneris, the big Leger study that told us consumers are very thoughtful. They're actually going to increase their spend, not across Canada, but they're going to, there's a bit of inflation in that spend, but basically they're going to be very, very thoughtful about it. So I think your point is, and the point around what we're going to talk about today is it's not too late. Of course, we all start planning around holiday months and months in advance, but it is not too late to take what you're about to tell everybody on the mic and get those incremental sales and get
out. It's not too late, and fully aware that retailers, companies like Google who work with retailers are under a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. The retail industry, it feels like, has been under a lot of pressure for many, many years, and this year is no different. And so many may take, many may be encouraged by some of those survey results that you shared. But I think that the truth is it's always a very, very nervous time for retailers. And, this is their moment, and they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, we kind of jumped right in. Not everybody knows you, surprisingly, but there might be a few new listeners, maybe some folks around the world. Who are you, and what do you do for a living?
Great. Well, my name's Eric. I've spent the last 22 and a half years working at Google. I was the second employee hired at Google in Canada. At the time, Google had 500 employees globally and only 2 in Canada. A really small business. Google was a $300 million business at the time, not the number one search engine. I think 60% of Canadians had high-speed internet at the time. So it was a very, very different time. And I've done all sorts of different things here, all on the business side of Google, all working with our largest partners across different industry teams, automotive, financial services, a lot of startups. Mm-hmm. I helped launch our mobile ads business back in the day. And since 2017 have been focused exclusively on the retail industry, working with the largest retailers in the country across general merchandise, grocery, big box retailers like Canadian Tire, Walmart, Home Depot, online only retailers, think like Article or Rove Concepts out west. The large direct-to-consumer brands, Lululemon, Canada Goose, et cetera. So it's a really interesting cross-section of the largest Retailers headquartered in Canada, many service just Canadian shoppers. Some have, like Lululemon, have a global
Sure.
footprint.
One of the things I wanted to highlight, of course, Google would service many industry sectors, travel, for example, healthcare, whatever. But, as I listen to you and someone of your tenure, clearly the retail sector is important to Google Canada, yeah?
Yes, that's the direct answer. Very, very important. It is.
So you know a lot about. So you know a lot about us is kind of where I'm getting to, right? Like this isn't just off the side of your desk. There's a bunch of folks. John Fanos and I were on the stage together.
Yeah,
with a lot of deep insights, talking to a lot of people in the retail space, right?
Yeah, of all the industries in Canada, we've put the most resources behind servicing the retail industry. Sales, account management, analytics, insights, and even on the product side of Google, if you think about how you use Google or how you use YouTube, use it to find information, check the weather or sports, learn something new. But a lot of our use cases, many of our use cases are around shopping and thinking about the things that we want to buy and gift others. And so it's a really interesting intersection of the consumer and our largest partners, frankly, fund all of this.
Which brings, of course, us to the Google Canada Holiday Trends Research, which is out, and we're going to dive into that. First of all, give us a sense of the methodology. Where are these numbers coming from? Of course, Google search, but how does that all come to pass? What do you look at, and do you ask consumers? And you're also going to layer on your discussions and your team's discussions firsthand with retailers. But let's start with, whatever methodology you want to share around the study itself.
Yeah, I think a couple things. We started surveying Canadians, working with research firms like Ipsos and others, every week or every other week since the start of the pandemic. And we really saw it, we were trying to understand how the retail landscape was changing through COVID. And we're surveying Canadians frequently on what they were buying, where they were buying, how things have changed. Were they shopping with new retailers, new brands? Were they looking for the things they've always bought or shopping for new things? And have been doing this, every 2 weeks for many, many years. So we have this really interesting understanding of the retail landscape in Canada and how it changes week to week and year to year. And the other is our search data, which is anonymized. We don't know who is searching for what, but in aggregate, it's this gives you an incredible understanding of what Canadians want to buy and where they want to buy it from. And, as it gets colder, people search for winter boots. As it warms up, people are looking for shorts, T-shirts, bathing suits, things for their garden. It's this unbelievable insight. It's real-time insights for us and for retailers, what Canadians want to buy and where they buy it from.
You and I have been talking about this survey for a couple of years, which, as you said, it's been ongoing. So let's focus on any, if not surprises, any kind of new insights. Let's start at personalized shopping experience. Now, if I told you, if we were having this conversation 20 years ago, we probably would have been talking about one-to-one and in some way, shape, or form personalized shopping experience. But we seem to have hit a new threshold or level of that about how people are searching not just gifts, but very specific gifts. Talk about that a bit.
Consumer and shopper expectations have never been higher. And we expect everything in our life to be catered to us because it can be catered to us, right? And just as Starbucks or Tim Hortons can remember the coffee that I like to drink in the morning, or Uber remembers where I live to pick me up, there's an expectation that when you go to a search engine or retailer that everything you ask for is magically customized and personalized for you. And I think in the retail, with retail specifically, it's become more acute because as consumers, we are overwhelmed by choice. There are more things to buy and more places to buy them from than ever before. And so increasingly, Canadians and shoppers globally come to Google and come to YouTube to help narrow down their choices. At Google, we see 3 times as many searches for what we would call a unbranded search, right? So somebody just searching for, say, running shoes versus a brand, right? Nike running shoes, New Balance running shoes, right? So Canadians are increasingly coming to Google looking to narrow down the choices of what to buy and where to buy it from. And so that is the need that we are trying to solve, and to help people and to help shoppers find what they're looking for at the right time.
I wanted to test this, and I typed in, I've often told the story that I've been married for a long time. And so, finding something new for my wife is always a bit of a challenge. I often go to the store. But last night I went in to Google and I searched, what should I get for my wife for Christmas? And we've been married X number of years. And it came up with some pretty precise results. It also, by the way, gave me a search option for my ex-wife, which I do not have one. That was a whole other path I went down.
Well, there was this, we shared an insight many, many years ago that Canadians were increasingly coming online looking for the best of everything. The best light bulb, the best toothbrush, the best SUV, the best. And it used to be really hard to know what products were the best, and Google made it really easy, and retailers made it increasingly easy. One of the interesting changes we've seen the last couple of years, this shift, people looking for things, right? A gift for my wife.
Right.
Birthday gift for a 5-year-old girl. And we see 10 times as many searches now, searches for something instead of searches that are best for a given product, which is a really, really interesting shift. People are turning to Google and turning to retailers, again, looking, to fill and fulfill a specific need.
Now, if you're a retailer thinking about, okay, how do I take advantage of this clear trend? Is that a mix of how they do their SEM and a little bit of how they do their SEO? Like, talk about the plumbing behind for a few minutes about how a retailer could use what you just said and actually grow.
Yeah, I think that's a very simple way of describing it for search, and it works. So SEO would be search engine optimization, and that would be the free listings that a retailer would see on Google, and SEM is paid search engine marketing. But I think at a higher level, it's a combination of content and marketing. As an example, if you're looking for the best running shoes, the best shoes for a track workout, the best running shoes for a marathon, retailers increasingly turn to things like gift guides and shopping guides to help consumers narrow down their choices. So content is the most obvious way to do that, whether it's on your website, an email, and to help consumers narrow down the choice once they arrive at your site. And then on the marketing side of it, being able to deliver, a personalized message. You're right. It has been nirvana for the last 20-something years in this industry to be able to deliver the right message, the right ad to the right shopper at the right time on the right device. We are closer to realizing that promise than ever before. So in practical terms, being able to customize the imagery, the slogan, the offer, personalizing all of that, showing a different ad for someone who shops with you all the time and is one of your best customers versus someone who's never shopped with you before versus somebody who used to shop with you but hasn't shopped in the last 6 months, right? Those are 3 very interesting cohorts that apply to all retailers. And that's an area where a retailer can customize and personalize the content on the website and through advertising, right, to help reach the right shopper and ultimately enable all of them to shop and to buy something.
Would you say for retailers that, and we've talked about this before in years past and together, would you say that for retailers being very good at understanding Google and how to work and become an expert at both SEO and SEM is kind of table stakes? And it sounds like what you're talking about is the differentiator becomes, okay, I don't want to minimize how hard or how much work it takes to be an expert at anything, but okay, expertise is one thing, but then to be a differentiator, to stand ahead, you've got to start managing and understanding influencers, content, and we'll talk about videos. Is that a fair description, or am I getting ahead of myself?
No, I think that's a fair description. Look, I think in the early days, of Google, when I joined in 2002, Google leveled the playing field for marketers. In the old days, if you wanted to market, it may have been through a flyer, billboard, television. It's big, it's expensive. You may have needed an agency. Google and others introduced sort of a self-service platform. If you wanted to, you could be live on Google with a link clicking through to your site in minutes, and leveled the playing field between small, medium, and large marketers and large retailers. Increasingly, we have a lot of tools that make it very, very easy for someone to be self-sufficient and do this all on their own or with a partner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the truth is the retail landscape and the digital landscape is changing so fast. And there's so many things we can talk about today that we weren't talking about last year. And so there are tools to automate and to simplify. And then there's this whole other level that has made it, frankly, more complicated, where retailers still have the ability to differentiate. So yes, it's table stakes, but even in a world where it's table stakes and heavily automated and retailers have a lot of expertise, there's still an ability to differentiate with great content, running experiments to test different offers and different images, right? Leveraging first-party data, not just collecting it, which is a differentiator, but activating against it, which is an even a bigger differentiator.
Let's talk about YouTube. Let's talk about videos, shoppable videos. So, haul videos and try-on videos. Videos, YouTube Shorts, as you know, I'm a user myself, a big user and a customer and viewer of YouTube. I mean, I don't even barely watch television anymore. I mean, I'm a big fan and it helps me with my own business. But what's going on? Am I an outlier, or people? I don't feel like I'm an outlier. It feels to me like people are really engaging with video of all lengths. First of all, short, but then also full length. What are you seeing related to shopping?
Well, I think for many years, shopping online was, the analogy I've heard or used before, it's like spearfishing. You knew exactly, what you wanted to buy, and you just typed it into a little search box and clicked on whoever could get it to you the fastest, or was closest to you, or had the lowest price. And I think the internet in the earliest days did a disservice to, like capital S shopping, right? The kind of shopping you may have done through the mall or walking down the street, or like that broader inspiration.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And so YouTube and video through sight, sound, and motion, like we're not shopping through like keywords and with like our fingers on a keyword, but it is sight, sound, and motion. It's immersive, it's creative, it's inspiring, it's fun. And so it's taking shopping to a whole new level. What we see here at Google is that, the vast majority of Canadians are using video as a key source and destination to influence the things that they bought. 70% of YouTube viewers have actually bought something after watching a video on YouTube. And like you said, it's hauls, it's try-ons, shop with me videos, where creators are posting videos of like a day in the life and just come shop and buy groceries for my family of 5. Those videos are up 25%. We see 700 million videos a week on unboxing related videos, just unboxing, in retail. And so the scale of YouTube and its impact on retail is off the charts, and I think was underestimated by, retailers 3-4 years ago. And I think it's only now that retailers and brands have caught up to where the consumer is and where video fits in to that shopping journey.
I guess to put a point to that, if you had advice to retailers listening, it's, maybe you're going to make your own, but also there's lots of people out there making videos likely that you could connect with, call them influencers or call them whatever. It feels like those are worthwhile discussions. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I mean, to be really direct, they are, right. And it's that surround sound of content. Look, Google and YouTube reward rich, unique content, and that can be content that you create as a retailer or a brand. It can be content that others create on your behalf. And as you know, as a viewer, sometimes you want the brand's content. Other times you want it from a creator who may be more like you, and you can see how they are using the product in a use case similar to yours.
So we've been talking now almost 20 minutes, and either of us haven't said the word AI yet, which is some kind of record these days. But let's cross that bridge. So AI, clearly important in retail. It has been for a while. It's even more now. What can retailers do or think about AI for the holidays? What can it help them do to drive sales and improve the holiday experience for their customers?
I'd probably narrow it down to 2 or 3 things. I think the first, and I spoke about it earlier, many retailers have incredibly rich, we would call first-party data about their customers. They have an email address, right? They have some understanding of people who've shopped with them before online and or in store. and there are incredibly rich insights that retailers have not been able to mine because they don't have the time or the expertise or the resources. And that is a use case where AI is extremely effective. So leverage the data that you have to identify shoppers and audiences that are valuable to you, people who shopped with you last year, high value customers, people who lapsed customers, shoppers who shopped with you last year but haven't this year, right? Using AI to harness your first party data, to target through media differently, to show more personalized offers to. The data side is probably the first part. The second side is around creative. And so Google and many other partners that retailers would work with have introduced a wealth of resources to help automate, simplify, and speed up the creation of assets, video assets, new images. I sell a desk. I want to quickly create a picture of the desk in a home office, a basement office, an office tower. In the old days, that would be really, really hard to do. And it's a photo shoot and you need to rent the space and it's time consuming. Increasingly, there are tools from Google and others that make it really, really easy to rapidly test and create new assets. And the more you can test, the more you can personalize the assets, the pictures, the videos, the slogans, the offers, the more likely you are to capture someone's attention and turn that shopper into a sale. And the last side is around, and this is like near and dear to our heart on the marketing side of things, it is around media optimization, using AI to be able to say, look, Google and other partners, I have a goal. When I spend $1 in marketing, I'm looking to return $5 in e-commerce sales, right? Or I'm looking to return $10 in sales, and I don't care if it's sales online or sales in my store, just optimize, right, to the next best dollar spent, wherever that shopper may be. And AI is unbelievably powerful at steering those marketing dollars into the channels and the formats and the surfaces that deliver the best results to retailers. That is the number one thing that retailers can do to leverage AI this holiday season. Set a business objective and unleash the hounds, so to speak, right? And put AI to work for your business to drive sales this holiday season.
Now, it's a little bit off topic, but not really. Google's AI is Gemini, and I've been hearing some great things about it. John Fanos and I talked about it on the stage, and he was telling me some things I had no idea that it did, and other people, interestingly, have been sending me examples. So what you describe, is that native, so to speak, baked into Gemini? Should people get to know Gemini better?
So I think people should get to know Gemini better. Increasingly, on the marketing side of things, we have built many of these AI features within the dedicated tools. So the creative examples that I spoke of are inside the Google Ads platform where marketers would create creative. There's another really important dimension for retailers, especially this time of year, which is predicting demand, right? How many people are going to search for yoga pants in the next week, right? And what is the likelihood that they click on me and buy from me? Through AI, we have the ability to predict how many shoppers will search and how many will buy from you. It's all customized to the specific retailer and allow you to test different points, along that sort of volume versus efficiency scale. So if you want to relax your efficiency targets, we can predict with some level of confidence how that's likely to impact your sales online and in store. So we would call it Performance Planner, and we can provide a link to it in the notes of the podcast. But it allows retailers to predict shopping demand and experiment with sort of different points along that efficiency curve. It is super, super cool stuff that delivers high value to retailers.
Let's talk about Google Lens for a sec. I was shocked when I learned how many people are now using Google Lens. And I was even more shocked when I started using it and went, wow, this thing's pretty amazing. For those who may not be familiar, I'm sure you're talking it up with your clients, and I'd love to hear what they're saying. What are you hearing about Google Lens in terms of shopping, and is it a new frontier of excitement amongst the retailers?
Yes, it is. One of the most important observations we've seen. And look, we launch lots of stuff, and some of it catches on slower and then reaches escape velocity. Sometimes it starts slow and never reaches escape velocity. And then there are other products like Lens that are a commercial success out of the gate. It's really interesting. If I were to speak to a room full of marketers, executives at a conference and show of hands, how many have used Google Lens? Almost all the hands goes up. There are very, very, very high usage of the product. It's essentially visual search, right? So you take out your phone, you open the camera, and you can search. That's a really interesting car. I've never seen it before on the road. What is it? Those are really interesting shoes you're wearing, Michael. I'm curious, like I'll take a picture of the shoes and I can get like the brand. I can see where to buy it from, and I can shop like immediately simply from a picture. Roughly a third of the searches we see through Google Lens have commercial intent. People are using Lens a third of the time because they want to buy something. It's an unbelievably powerful tool for shoppers. For retailers, there's really nothing they need to do to take advantage of this, right? So we are just using our understanding of of an image and using AI to understand like what's in the picture, what does someone want, and like cross-referencing that with our understanding of the web, including product feeds that retailers would provide. So retailers provide to Google a product feed, a list of the products they sell, the colors, the attributes, pictures, multiple images from different angles. And so they provide that because they want to be discovered. And so if you're a retailer and you're doing that today, you're providing a Google feed because it helps you in Google image search or shopping. It will help you in Google Lens as well. So again, it comes back to like content on your website, content through a product feed. Google really rewards rich content that you own, create, and share. And if you do that as a retailer, you're likely to be discovered through Google Lens.
Last question for you. Anything about the results, and we'll hopefully we'll be able to post a link or whatever to get to the actual results, but anything surprise you from the results that you saw? We've talked about things that are different, things that are evolving. Anything jump out at you and go, wow, I didn't expect that, or I wanted to mention that in the last thing I said on a podcast like this?
We've spent a lot of time with senior retail executives these last few months, right, leading up to their peak season. The things we're hearing and that we're trying to answer, we know they are under a lot of pressure to deliver results. Retail is a extremely competitive industry. We get lots of questions from Canadian retailers on the footprint and the magnitude of the, I'll call them global giants, where it's sometimes hard to understand from a survey or StatsCan or eMarket or other sources, just how big are they in Canada? And not all of them are public companies. Not all of them break out their results. We get lots of questions about Amazon, Temu, Shein. We get lots of questions, interestingly enough, increasingly about Costco. Which I think is really, really interesting and a change. We see a lot more searches for Costco this year and last year than we had in previous years. We get a lot of questions about the economy. And so what does Google see? Sometimes we are a leading indicator. There was the day we're recording, Michael, there was an interest rate cut in Canada. What do we think that will mean for searches for real estate, for home improvement, for things that might be sparked by an interest rate cut in Canada? And sometimes we are that like early warning system, and we can spot those changes in shopping behavior before a retailer can. There are wildcards that we are asked about. How will the U.S. election, like what happened the last U.S. election? How could the U.S. election impact shopping, especially important for Canadian retailers who have customers in the U.S.? Lots of questions about weather. We can't control the weather, but we do know when it's unseasonably warm, like it was last holiday season, shopping patterns change. And what people buy and when they buy them. We have all sorts of interesting data here that we share with retailers. Just a simple 1 or 2 degree change in weather has a big impact in what Canadians search for and what they ultimately buy. So these are the types of questions we're getting. And of course, this holiday season is also a little bit different because of the way the calendar plays out. Black Friday and Cyber Weekend are the peak days. It's a much longer period where people are shopping. It's an extended season, a Cyber 12 or 14 before and during and after. But Black Friday this year is the 29th of November. It's very late. And so what that means is there are people shopping and researching. There's 5 more days before Black Friday, sort of in that pre-Black Friday calendar. And there's 5 fewer days right after the Cyber weekend. And so what does that mean? How will that change shopping behavior? What should marketers and retailers do leading up to it if there's 5 more days and there's more research happening before people buy on the peak days? And then conversely, if there's fewer days after Cyber Monday, between Cyber Monday and say Boxing Day and Boxing Week, how should behavior change this year to reflect like a very, very different calendar? And those are the types of insights that we're trying to share with retailers to answer some of those questions.
Well, I don't need AI to predict that this will be a popular episode and has added a lot of value. I can say that with complete confidence. If people want to get in touch with you or the team directly, how do they do that?
You can send me an email, emorris@google.com. Can be found on LinkedIn, or see you at Retail Council of Canada events or anywhere else.
Fantastic. Now, are we going to be able to post a link in here to the survey results so they can read through them in some depth? Yeah,
we'll include that. We have a broader set of holiday insights that we can share. I referenced some tools like Performance Planner, which can predict holiday demand. And so we'll include all of that as links afterwards.
Well, Eric, once again, thanks again for joining me on the Voice of Retail podcast. Like I said, it's not holiday unless you and I are having a good chat about it. So it's great to tap into your wisdom and the team's insights. And listen, and once again, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Vancouver coming up. And thank you for joining me on the mic for the Voice of Retail podcast.
Thanks for having me again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Voice of Retail. If you haven't already, follow on your favorite podcast platform so new episodes will land automatically each week. And be sure and check out my other retail industry media properties, the Remarkable Retail Podcast with Steve Dennis and the Global E-Commerce Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Vaughn, Senior Retail Advisor, Keynote Speaker. If you want more content or chat, follow me on LinkedIn. Safe travels, everyone.